Hello everyone, welcome back to our online chemistry classes. In the last class we were discussing about our fourth chapter, that is analytical chemistry. Before that we have completed our second chapter, that is chemical bonding. Notes of the second chapter, chemical bonding, it is uploaded in our school website. Please go and check it. And also I have added some homework for that chapter. Just try to do that in your class copy. And today we will be continuing our analytical chemistry. We will be finishing our fourth chapter, third chapter in order, the fourth chapter, analytical chemistry. Uh, in the last class, we were discussing about three cations. The first one was Cu2 plus Ca2 plus cation, calcium salts. The second one was that of copper salt, Cu2 plus cations. The third one was zinc salt, that is for zinc 2 plus cation. And today we will be continuing that. The next one that we will be going to discuss, it is the iron salt. There are two iron salt in your syllabus, Fe2 plus and Fe3 plus. And also after that we are supposed to study about Pb2 plus, that is lead salt. Okay, so just like what we did in our last class, we are going to take the first salt, that is Fe2 plus salt. So I am only having one sample of Fe2 plus salt in our lab. So that is ferrous sulfate. So this is the color of Fe2 plus salt or ferrous sulfate salt. So it is having a greenish shade. Okay, it is not that high dark green color. It is having a slight green shade. Okay, so as you can see, all the Fe2 plus salt, they are having greenish shade. Some are having ferrous sulfate, it is having light green shade. Some other Fe2 plus salt, they are having dark green or deep green colors. So we will be continuing with our Fe2 plus salt first. So first I am going to take some of the Fe2 plus salt. Dissolving it in little bit of water. As you can see, there is a slight brown color. It is supposed to be green color if it is 100% pure. Okay, the reason is this: Fe2 plus salt, it will get oxidized into Fe3 plus salt if it is exposed to air or some other oxidizing agent for very long time. So this you can see the brown shade, little bit brown shade, it is due to the presence of some of the Fe3 plus salt that Fe2 plus get converted. Some of the Fe2 plus get converted into Fe3 plus salt. That is why it is having some brown shade. It is supposed to be in green color if it is pure. Now we are going to continue with our test. What we are going to do next, it is to add the alkali. So this beaker, it is containing NaOH solution. So just like our previous classes, first I am going to add 1 or 2 drops, then after that I am going to add NHS. So I am going to add 1 or 2 drops first. This is NaOH solution. This is Fe2 plus salt solution, ferrous sulfate salt solution. So I have added just 1 or 2 drops. You can see it is having some slight greenish shade. Okay, I'm going to add further. Okay, so there is no much change in the color or something. It became some dark green color. Okay, so the solution that was light green in color, it turned into dark green color. So if you are adding little bit of NaOH or excess of NaOH to Fe2 plus salt solution, the Fe2 plus salt solution, it will turn into some dark green precipitate and it is insoluble in excess of NaOH. Okay, now first we have done with NaOH, then now we are going to follow it up with ammonium hydroxide. So again I will be taking our salt solution. Now instead of NaOH, I am going to add ammonium hydroxide. This here is our ammonia hydroxide. So I am going to add 1 or 2 drops first. Okay, I have added 1 or 2 drops. I'm going to shake it. It is having almost same observation as previous. It got some light green, dark green shade. So I am going to add excess. Just check whether it is going to get dissolved or some other observation is possible. So now excess of ammonia hydroxide. As you can see, there is no change compared to the first one. Okay, so both of them, they turn into dark green color precipitate. So now we are going to discuss the reaction, what reaction that is going to have happen here. So the Fe2 plus salt that we have taken here, that is FeSO4. FeSO4. First we are going to treat it with NaOH. So the product will be FeOH. It is Fe2 plus. So the product will be of Fe2 plus itself. So it is FeOH twice. Okay. So the product is FeOH twice, ferrous hydroxide, and the other product, side product is Na2SO4. Okay, so this FeOH twice, it is a precipitate that is having dark green color. Okay, so FeOH twice, it is the one that is giving dark green precipitate. So what happens if we are adding excess of NaOH to FeOH twice? There is no reaction. Okay, so if you add little bit of NaOH to FeSO4 or any other Fe2 plus salt, it will give a dark green precipitate. So if you are adding excess of NaOH, if you are adding excess of NaOH, there is no reaction. Okay, so now we are going to check what is happening if we are substituting NH4OH, that is ammonia hydroxide, instead of NaOH. The reaction here is almost similar as the previous case. The only thing that is changing here is, instead of sodium sulfate as a byproduct, we will get ammonium sulfate. Okay, so there is no change in observation. In both the cases, we get dark green precipitate. And other than that, there is one more thing that I want to discuss. That is this: if you are keeping this deep dark green color precipitate, that is FeOH twice, for a very long time, it can turn into a little bit brown shade. You can see at the top of the test tube there are some brown shades that is already starting. That is due to the formation of FeOH twice. Okay, that is ferric hydroxide. So if it is exposed through air for a very long time, there is a possibility that FeOH twice, it can get converted into FeOH thrice. That will give some reddish brown precipitate. Okay, now we are going to continue with our experiment. The next one that I will be discussing, that is what Fe3 plus R. Okay. Okay. The next salt that we will be discussing, that is Fe3 plus salt. So here I am having ferric chloride. That is the only Fe3 plus salt that we are having in the lab. So just observe the color. it is having some dark brown color shades, and also you have studied that Fe ferric chloride, it is a substance that absorbs water. In other words, it is a deliquescent substance. So if you are keeping it for a while, it will turn into a liquid state. So the color of Fe3 plus salt, that is brown or reddish brown in color. So first, we, just like the previous case, we are going to start the experiments. So first I am going to take some of the salt. Okay. So the color of the Fe3 plus solution, it will be some golden or golden yellow or orange, reddish orange color. It depends on the concentration. So first I am going to divide this into two. Now to the first one I am going to add a NaOH solution, and let's see what happens. First I am going to add 1 or 2 drops. I hope you can see the change. There is a slight formation of precipitate. I don't know whether it is okay. So we will continue to add further. So I hope now it is properly visible. Earlier it was some orange, golden orange color. Now it is some reddish brown color. Actually there is a precipitate formation inside. So I hope after some time the precipitate will settle down and you can observe the precipitate properly. So let's keep it aside. So in case of NaOH, after 1 or 2 drops, we will get slight amount of reddish brown precipitate. If we add excess, we will get proper reddish brown precipitate. So there is no difference in observation if we are adding 1 or 2 drops or in excess. Okay, now we are going to add NH4OH, that is ammonium hydroxide, to the second part. Let's see what happened here. So sorry, I added everything in excess at the starting itself. Actually there is no change if we are adding 1 drop or excess. So here also the same reddish brown precipitate is observed. So let's see. Okay, here the precipitate started to settle down. Here the precipitate, it is just forming. Now you can observe the precipitate properly in this test tube. So here Fe3 plus salts, they will form a reddish brown precipitate, a good reddish brown color precipitate, whether if you are adding NaOH or NH4OH in excess. So there is no change there is no change to Fe3 plus salt whether if you are adding NH4OH or NaOH solution. Both of them will give reddish brown precipitate with little or excess amount of NH4OH or NaOH. So now we will check the reaction. So the salt that we have taken, it is FeCl3, that is ferric chloride, Fe3 plus Cl minus 1, so we get FeCl3. Now we are going to add NaOH first. So if you are doing the crisscross method, you can get the product, that is Fe and OH. And Fe here it is having 3 plus charge, so if you are doing OH is having minus 1. If you are doing the crisscross method, you will get it as FeOH thrice. This is ferric hydroxide. Last time it was ferrous hydroxide. This is ferric hydroxide. Last time it was Fe2 plus. This time it is Fe3 plus. So this is ferric hydroxide, and this is the precipitate that is having reddish brown color. Okay, now the side product will be NaCl. Okay, since we are using FeCl, the side product will be NaCl. Now, the FeOH thrice, the reddish brown precipitate in excess of NaOH, there is no reaction. Okay, so you will get the same reddish brown color even if you are adding 1 or 2 drops, or if you are adding in excess. Now we check for the NH4OH. FeCl3 plus NH4OH gives FeOH thrice plus NH4Cl. So only change is this, instead of NaCl with NH4OH, if you are using NH4OH instead of NaOH. So here again reddish brown precipitate. Okay, FeOH thrice, it is the reddish brown precipitate. Now in excess, FeOH thrice plus NH4OH in excess, there is no reaction. Okay, I hope this is understood. No matter if it is NaOH or NH4OH, there is no difference in observation when we are using NaOH or NH4OH. Okay, so with this we will move to the last salt, that is lead salt. Okay, so the last salt that we are going to discuss, that is our Pb2+ salt. So this is lead nitrate, that is PbNO3 twice, volt twice. So as you can see, lead salt, normal lead salt, they are having white, or they are having colorless nature. Now other than that, you might have studied a little bit about lead oxide. Unlike the other lead salts, lead oxide, they are having specific color. Some are having brown color, some are having reddish orange color, some are having yellow shades. So now we are not discussing about the oxides of lead, we are going to discuss about the salts of lead. So here lead nitrate, it is having white color or colorless nature. So first, just like the previous case, we are going to take a sample of lead nitrate. We are going to dissolve it. So as you can see, normally lead salts are not soluble in water, but there is only one salt that is one of the lead salt that is properly soluble in water, that is lead nitrate. So you have studied the reason in the last year. All the nitrate salts, they are highly soluble in water. Other than that, lead chloride is also soluble in water, but it is not highly soluble in water. It is soluble properly in hot water. Okay, so let's continue with the experiment. So this is our lead salt. Okay, so this is the lead nitrate solution. As you can see, it is a clear solution. So I am going to divide this into two. Okay, now to the first one I am going to add NaOH. So first I am going to add 1 or 2 drops of NaOH. Okay, so I got a white precipitate. If you wait for a while, the precipitate will settle down. So now I am going to add excess amount of NaOH solution. Okay. So now to the white precipitate, I am going to add excess of NaOH solution. Okay. As you can see, the white precipitate that was already there, it got dissolved. So in case of NaOH, if you are adding excess of So in case of lead, if you are adding excess of NaOH, the white precipitate that form it will dissolve and you will get a clear solution likewise. Now what I am going to do is, instead of this NaOH, I am going to add ammonium hydroxide. Let's see what happens. Okay, so this is the lead nitrate solution. So to that I am going to add ammonium hydroxide drop by drop. So on the first drop you can see there is a large amount of white precipitate. Now to this I am going to add ammonium hydroxide in excess. So you can see the white precipitate, it is okay. So the white precipitate, it is not dissolving in this case, but in the previous case it completely dissolved. Okay, in case of ammonium hydroxide, the precipitate it is insoluble in excess of ammonium hydroxide, but in case of NaOH, the white precipitate that is formed, it is soluble in excess of sodium hydroxide. Okay, so now we are going to discuss the reason behind this. For that we need to do the chemical reaction. Okay. So the salt that we have taken here, that is lead nitrate, PbNO3 twice. Now first we added that into sodium hydroxide, NaOH. Okay, so the precipitate, there was a formation of white precipitate. That white precipitate was PbOH twice. Lead it is having 2 plus cation, so the hydroxide will be PbOH twice. Now Na and NO3 will form NaNO3 as byproduct. Okay. Now what we did after, it was adding excess of NaOH to lead hydroxide. So PbOH twice plus NaOH, also in presence of NaNO3, it will give formation of Na2PbO2. Okay, so a new product is formed, that is Na2PbO2 in presence of sodium nitrate and NaOH, the lead hydroxide, that white precipitate, it will turn into Na2PbO2, that is sodium plumbide, which is highly soluble in water. Okay, so this product that is formed after adding excess of NaOH, it is soluble in water. So because of that reason, all the leads that became soluble in water, and that white precipitate, it started to dissolve in the excess of NaOH. Okay, now we will deal with the next part, that is reaction of lead nitrate with ammonium hydroxide. PbNO3 twice plus NH4OH, it will give Pb. Okay, this is the white precipitate, PbOH twice, just like the previous one, white precipitate, plus instead of NaNO3 we will get ammonium nitrate. Okay, now what we are going to do is, we are going to add excess of NH4OH to the white precipitate. Here in the second case, when we added excess of ammonium hydroxide, there was no change. The precipitate was insoluble and there was no other color formation. So that means here there is no reaction. Okay, so this is all about the six cations or six metal salt that you are supposed to study. The first one, it was calcium, then copper, then came zinc, Fe2 plus and Fe3 plus, and at the end we are having the lead. So you are supposed to remember all the color all the colors of the salt, and also the precipitate, the color of the precipitate, especially not just the color, there are some other categories. For example, in case of zinc, if you are writing white precipitate, it is wrong. You are supposed to write it as white gelatinous precipitate. So you are supposed to remember color of salt, the type of precipitate, color of the precipitate, and at the end you are supposed to remember the last one, that is the observation when we are adding excess of NaOH or excess of ammonia hydroxide. And one more thing, you are supposed to write, or you are supposed to study the difference in observation. If there is any difference in observation when we are adding NaOH and NH4OH, you are supposed to remember that also. Okay, this much part it is compulsory from this analytical chemistry chapter. It is like some 20 chemical reaction that is there in this much part. So I think you can expect a minimum of 4 marks just from this part. There is one more part in this same chapter. So altogether you will get approximately some 8 to 10 mark question from this chapter, and it is like nothing extra can be asked from this chapter. Only this some 20 chemical reactions are there. If you just study that chemical reaction and the color and other observation, the chapter is over. Nothing extra is there to study. Okay, now we are moving to the last part of the chapter, that is the amphoteric oxides that you have studied in previous classes. Now we are going to study it as amphoteric metals. So in the previous classes you have studied that there are 3 amphoteric oxides. The one was zinc oxide, aluminum oxide and lead oxide. Here you are going to deal with the same thing. We are going to discuss the properties of the same 3 amphoteric metals. We are going to discuss some of the reactions of these 3 amphoteric metals, and with that the chapter will be over. Okay, so the first amphoteric metal that we will be discussing, it will be zinc. Okay, so amphoteric metals or amphoteric oxide. Okay, what do you mean by the term amphoteric? It means that it is having dual nature. Okay, so in you know that chemicals are classified as acid, base and neutral. Okay, so you know what is acid, you know what is base. So amphoteric means it is not something that is having the property of both acid and base. It is a chemical that can react with both acid and base. Okay, so you have studied that amphoteric oxide like aluminum oxide, zinc oxide and also lead oxide, they can react both with acid and also with the bases. Okay, so now we will be dealing with some of the reactions of zinc, aluminum and lead. First we will deal with zinc and lead, the reactions of zinc and lead. So you can take any of the zinc or lead compound, you can react it with acid and as well as base. You will get the same or similar products. Now the first one that I am going to discuss, it is our zinc hydroxide. So suppose I am going to react it with it is how to get zinc hydroxide. If you are reacting any of the zinc salts with NaOH or NH4OH or any other base, you will get zinc hydroxide. You remember the white gelatinous precipitate when we add NaOH or NH4OH to zinc salt, that is our zinc hydroxide. So now I am going to react it with an acid. So the acid that I am choosing here, it is HCl. So zinc hydroxide plus HCl, the product will be zinc chloride plus H2O. Okay, that means the zinc hydroxide, it can react with acid to form zinc chloride and water. Okay, now I'm going to react the zinc hydroxide, the same zinc hydroxide with NaOH instead of HCl. Okay, so I hope you remember this reaction. Zinc hydroxide plus NaOH in excess. The product is sodium Na2 Zn O2. Sodium zincate plus water. Okay, so I hope you remember this reaction. This is the final reaction when we are adding excess of NaOH to zinc hydroxide, that white gelatinous precipitate to the white gelatinous precipitate. If you are adding excess of NaOH solution, you can observe that the white gelatinous precipitate, it dissolves. That is due to the formation of Na2Zn O2, that is sodium zincate, that is a water soluble salt. Okay, so as you can see here, we have taken two of the zinc compound. One is zinc hydroxide. Sorry, we have taken zinc hydroxide, one of the zinc compound, and we reacted with it with an acid first, and we got a product, and also it reacted with a base to form another product. So zinc hydroxide, it is a compound that can react with both acid and base. So it is considered as an amphoteric metal. Zinc is considered as an amphoteric metal because zinc compounds, they are able to react with both acid and bases. So now we'll try one more reaction. Instead of zinc hydroxide, we'll take zinc oxide, that is ZnO. ZnO plus HCl. The product is ZnCl2 plus H2O. Okay, now ZnO, that is zinc oxide, we will react it with NaOH again. The product is Na2Zn O2. We got this similar product here because we are using HCl and NaOH just like the previous case. So no matter whether if it is NaOH twice, that is zinc hydroxide or zinc oxide or any other zinc compounds, it is having an ability to react with both acid as well as bases. Okay, so I hope this is understood. All this whatever I am explaining now, it was there in your 8th and 9th class syllabus. I hope you remember. So I won't be doing further reaction. I will be just explaining one of each compound of aluminum and lead, not all the compounds of lead and aluminum. Okay, so next what I am going to discuss, it is of lead compounds, because zinc and lead compounds, they are having much similarities. Okay, so in case of lead, I will be dealing with lead oxide, PbO. Now I am going to react it with an acid. So instead of HCl, I will be taking H2SO4 here. So the product will be PbSO4 plus H2O. Okay. Now that means lead oxide, it can react with an acid. As you remember, okay. The next one that we are going to do, that is the reaction of lead oxide. So last time we reacted it with the different acid, so this time we will be taking a different base. So I am going to take KOH. Okay, so here, as you remember, you cannot take ammonium hydroxide. Okay, the weak bases, because lead doesn't react further with. Okay, here it is only if you are taking lead hydroxide, you are not supposed to take ammonia hydroxide, weak bases, since lead doesn't react with weak bases, but still it can react with the strong bases. Okay, so lead oxide, it will react with KOH. So when it reacted with NaOH, the product was Na2Zn, Na2PbO2, sodium chlambine. So what happened if you are reacting it with KOH? Instead of Na2 PbO2 will get K2PbO2. That is so what is K2PbO2? It is called potassium plumbite. The Na2 is PbO2, it was called sodium plumbite. This is potassium plumbite. Okay, so in both the cases, lead oxide it is able to react with sulfuric acid as well as KOX. Sulfuric acid it is definitely an acid. KOX it is a strong base. So since PbO it is able to react with H2SO4 as well as KOH, it is considered as a amphotic metal. Similarly, if you are taking some other lead compound, for example, if you are taking lead hydroxide, you will get the similar reaction, almost similar product, just you have to balance it again. Okay, please try it by yourself. Now we are going to deal with the next one, that is aluminium. Okay, so I am starting with aluminium oxide. Okay, that is Al2O3. I am starting with aluminium oxide because this is one of the important reactions that you are going to study again in the metallurgy chapter. So what happened here? I am going to react aluminium oxide with NaOH. NaOH. So actually first I am supposed to take acid first. This time I have taken base. The product is Na. Okay, the product here is sodium aluminate, NaAlO2. Okay, so when we are reacting aluminium oxide with sodium hydroxide, the product is sodium aluminate plus water. Okay, now this reaction it is called Bayer's process or Bayer's method that we will be studying in extraction of aluminium in the metallurgy chapter. Just remember that for now. We will be studying more about that in the next chapter. Now we are going to do the same reaction of aluminium oxide. So instead of a base, here I will be reacting it with another acid. So I am taking HCl here. So HCl plus Al2O3, you will get AlCl3 plus H2O. Okay. Okay, this is the reaction of aluminium oxide with HCl. The product is aluminium chloride, AlCl3 plus water. Okay, so that is all about amphotic oxide. So if you are asked a question about why aluminium or zinc or lead is an amphotic oxide, you are supposed to explain it with a reaction, not just one reaction, two reaction, one with the acid and other with the base. So and there can be other questions also. For example, if they are asking about zinc, aluminium or lead, some properties of zinc, aluminium or lead, it can be some 80% guaranteed it can be about amphotic property of zinc, aluminium or lead. It can be from different chapter, but it is due to the amphotic property. It is explained in the analytical chemistry chapter. Okay, so I'll give such questions in the, I will also give the answers and questions in the notes. So please refer the notes and also try to do the homeworks properly. So there is a little bit extra topic that is added to the current syllabus that you have already studied in last year's topic. So I will be dealing with that. That will be the reaction of metal with alkali. So that is the last part of this chapter. So let's start that. Okay, in the last year you had a chapter. The chapter name was hydrogen. In that chapter you have studied that certain metals like zinc, lead, they can react with an alkali to liberate hydrogen. It can also react with acid as well as bases. The zinc, aluminum and lead, they are able to react with both alkalis and bases, but in this chapter we will be dealing with alkali only. So this metal, if you are adding the pure metal into the alkalis, they will react and form the hydrogen. So you have studied this reaction in last year hydrogen chapter. You will be studying that again once again. So the first reaction, it is the reaction between zinc and NaOH. The product, it will be sodium zinc plus hydrogen. Okay, so here what it is not a direct process. For example, first the zinc will react with NaOH to produce zinc hydroxide, the white solution precipitate, and the next part it will form sodium zinc. Okay, so it can be directly shown here. So the reaction will be 2NaOH plus Zn gives Na2ZnO2 plus H2. Okay, so H2, it is a gas, it will be liberated outside. So similarly, if you are taking lead, instead of NaOH, you will try KOH here. So you will get similar product, that is K2 PbO2 plus hydrogen again. So the last one is aluminium plus NaOH. You get of aluminium, we need water also as one of the reactants. So the product will be sodium aluminate and hydrogen. So on all these cases, hydrogen is liberated. So last year you are studying these three reactions as one of the reaction for the preparation for hydrogen. Okay, so here you are going to study that again whenever you are adding zinc, aluminum or lead into a alkali, or even if you are adding to an acid, you will get hydrogen as a byproduct. Okay, so that's all. With that, we will be completing this chapter. So before the next class, I will upload the notes for this chapter in the school website, and also the next chapter that I am planning to start, it is HCl. So if you have got the textbook with you, it is better if you are referring it before the online classes. That's all. Thank you.